Welcome back, everyone, to Vox Markets. My name is Paul Hill, and I'm delighted again to be able to speak to CEO Bob Rauker of Belluscura, a leading medical devices firm specializing in portable oxygen concentrators that are used to treat patients with severe respiratory conditions like COPD, pneumonia, and even long COVID. So welcome, Bob.
Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Big congrats on this morning's inline prelims. And you seem to be having this lovely problem whereby you can sell just about every single portable oxygen concentrator you could possibly manufacture. So can we kick off? You talk about the demand side of the equation at the moment.
The demand has been, we'll say, really, really good. Everybody plans on your product's going to be well received, and it has been extremely well received, and we continue to ramp up manufacturing, and basically everyone we get into the inventory room, we're shipping out within 24 to 48 hours off to the distributors. So it's been what we would say gangbusters. It's been going fast.
Fantastic. Well, I did see you've upgraded your forecast, or not the forecast. You upgraded last year's forecast as the year went a couple of times. And can you just talk about how the actual the sort of the trading's been, or the commercialization's been in the first sort of 6 weeks of the new year?
So within the first 6 weeks, as you saw in our report, we sold or have purchase orders now in place for more than what we sold in 2021. So which is just fantastic, of course. And along the ways, we continue to ramp up manufacturing. We're expanding our manufacturing facilities, our contract manufacturer. We're already starting that process, and actually looking further down the road to further expand, just because the demand for our product and the overall demand in the market, as your intro said, continues to be extremely strong for supplemental oxygen. A lot of people are moving away from the tanks, and it's just a general overall. I think the latest reports have a CAGR of over 10% annually, which obviously compounded annually. So it's very exciting. So we're trying to keep up with it, and we continue to implement and build up from there.
And can you just talk about the actual the distributor strategy? Because you've appointed quite a few distributors so far, and it looks as though you've got pretty good coverage of America. So if you could just sort of like take us through that one.
So we started out, the first thing we did is these products, they're prescription products. The key thing to understand from distribution is they're in the United States, they're prescription products. We started with the online distributors first, and where people can buy with a prescription. We've now expanded into the distributors who also rent through the Medicare process, through insurance and Medicare and stuff. So that's kind of been our progression as we continue to expand from online to brick and mortar to a mixture of online and brick and mortar. I think we now have over 10 now that we've brought on board. It might even be 11 or 12. I know that we have 2 more coming on board this week. We may or may not have signed them yet, but they are coming on board, and we will continue to do that as we increase the marketing. The manufacturing. We'll continue to bring on more distributors, and the coverage is basically all the United States now, and Puerto Rico, and so we feel real good about where we're at. And now we're hitting some specific areas, trying to broaden and add more distributors in the various pockets and stuff.
And is there a sort of also a B2C opportunity here, selling direct to consumers? And let's if I'm suffering with COPD and I want a sort of like a Belluscura product, etc., then could I contact Belluscura direct?
The plan, the long-term plan is to, and I should say short-term is probably, we will be opening up a direct-to-consumer portal. All the companies, major manufacturers now have direct-to-consumer. Some of them, obviously, if you kind of look at the market, some of them are more aggressive than others about direct-to-consumer. But yes, that's where we're headed to. It's a great opportunity and a way to increase our gross margins significantly when you go to direct to consumer. But we're not quite at the stage where we're going to do Medicare. It would be prescription products. That's another big leap to go into Medicare rental and stuff. But so it would be a direct to consumer, patient purchase.
And what's the sort of the feedback been like in the field for the end patient so far? As in, like, you know, once you've actually got them in, just for sort of continuing to sort of fine tune the product and your future R&D and getting feedback and all that kind of stuff?
The reception by the consumers has been very, very good. They've been very pleased. They like the lightweight nature of the unit. It weighs less than 4 pounds, puts out 800 milliliters of oxygen, or in pulse dose, that kind of converts to about 4 liters of continuous. And so it's been well received. We continue to make modifications to it, just to improve things like noise, sieve life, just little things here and there. The software, we get nice feedback. We have continuing studies going on. So we're excited, and going in with we got the next 2 products. I'm actually holding the CX, this is one of the demo units we're testing. And then we have the DX. These will be coming out in the next Q2 and Q3. So not only are we working on the existing Explorer here, but we're bringing out next generation stuff that we're very excited about. We've got very early interest from a lot of companies, very interested in especially the DX, which is a next generation concentrator.
Great. And then I saw the broker, Dowgate Capital. They've got a forecast of units, I think, for 2022 of 4,000. What's the sort of like the production capacity for this year? Is it going to be able to, what will it exit at? What's the idea if it to exit December 2022 at a sort of like an annualized production capacity or volume?
Yeah, and I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I have to go look at what that exactly says as far as which units. I don't know if there's a breakdown, but
no, there isn't. No, there is not a breakdown, but it's just a total.
Okay. Sure. So, you know, the idea is that the earlier we can get the DX and these into, you know, our goal is obviously to shoot past what Dowgate has in there for units. We feel good that we can do that. Our manufacturing, I'm trying to think of where we're at already, but we should be able to exit the year well ahead of you know, whatever well ahead means, but definitely meet that target is our, you know, is our goal. Rolling into 2023, we have a substantially bigger volume that we're hitting, so we want to hit that the ground running. And of course, by the end of the year, we'll have a multiple group of products that are adding to that volume. So it's not just a single Explorer. So we feel very good about it. And then rolling into the next year, and as we expand the manufacturing capabilities too, and we're looking at a second site, OUS, of course, to expand. We have a lot of demand outside the United States. So that's also where we're looking to expand our manufacturing.
And where would that be? In Europe, would it? Would that be the next location? You presumably need to get a regulatory approval, do you? Or...
Right. So Europe. We have to get the CE mark, of course, and we're working through our 13485, our ISO standards right now. So, you know, Europe would be hopefully in 2023 is our goal. Actually, the largest market for concentrators and oxygen is actually Asia. And some reports show that over 50% of all the stationary, I got one back here, of these big things are actually sold in China alone. Yeah. So that's a big market that we're looking to move into. Significant COPD, #1 killer in those countries. So that's if we had to guess where we would go into, probably into Asia sooner, just because there's a little bit cleaner pathway on the regulatory to get into those countries. Europe a lot is slowed down a lot because of COVID. The authorized bodies and stuff to do the approvals and stuff is a little bit slower, but we should be in all, we're hoping to be in both areas in 2023 is our goal.
Oh, okay. And then just in terms of sort of sourcing raw material, I know one of your, I think it's the industry leader, Inogen, has really struggled getting chipsets and silicon chips and stuff like that. In fact, I think they've had to stop production because they basically can't get it. How are you guys sort of managing to source the parts that you need to make the portable oxygen concentrators?
Well, we've been fortunate that I've got a great crew of people who have a lot of experience in sourcing. We saw a lot of the issues early on and actually started stockpiling, I guess, for lack of a better description, a lot of the chips and the membranes and the parts and the resins and I mean, supply chain is impacting everybody because even when you can get it, the cost is a little bit higher in many cases and stuff. So our team has been doing a wonderful job of a perfect example is one of our components, a small component comes out of China. And if you saw what happened in the Olympics, a lot of facilities were shut down to conserve electricity and pollution. We got our orders in before. And so it was a great move by our guys to see that coming and get the materials in. So we've had no disruption on supply chain. So so we're quite pleased and continuing going forward. We keep looking at substitute parts. We keep looking at alternatives just to try and protect ourselves.
Well done. That's a fantastic. The peers have been sort of struggling. Now, just moving to say on to new products, really looking forward to seeing the the CX and the DX. You also, when I think we chatted last time, you mentioned that there was a data sort of gathering app that the company was developing, so it can monitor how the patients. Do you just want to talk us through and give us the sort of timeline for that one?
That will be a little bit later this year. The both of these units will come out with apps on them. With basic information on it, Bluetooth connected units that'll be eligible, I should say, applicable on the person's phone. And then there's a next generation that'll be coming out. The plan is in the fall. We're doing some testing with that, and that'll be a broader connected device. And we're very excited about that. We have some respiratory therapists and pulmonologists working with us on getting that finalized. And the whole idea is that we want to make these machines not just produce oxygen, but we want them smarter. As everybody's going more into, telehealth and telemedicine, we want to be able to have a patient when they meet with somebody like you and I are on Zoom, and we can sit there and you can pull up a report and say, okay, here's how much oxygen you used, here's what your pulse rate was, all that type of material. And that starts providing better information and better outcomes for the patients. So.
And that can be to help them actually, one, use the device, but also it might well be other conditions they have in their outside life that can improve their recovery, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. The idea, there's a whole bunch of things is that a lot of times, a lot of patients, unfortunately, even with this or tanks, they use too much oxygen. You can actually get too much oxygen, and it's not good for treating stuff. So one of the things is that if you can better manage that through smart apps and stuff, the batteries will last longer, the oxygen will last longer, the sieves will last longer. It's better results for the patient. It's all about improving the healthcare, which we think is a win for us. It's a win for the patient. It's a win for the healthcare system because less cost.
Good. And then I just turn my eye again to the Dowgate analyst report, and I suggest that investors have a look at that. And it shows that the company is going to be EBITDA sort of positive in 2023 and cash flow positive in 2024. But if you push it out a bit further, just the ultimate shape of the business, how are you sort of thinking of the business? I mean, it's obviously done it did about sort of 370 odd units last year at the start, and that was a soft launch. I remember you telling me. So I'm not sure what you're going to do with a hard launch anyway. But just sort of, I know nobody can actually sort of be firm on this one, but just directionally wise, how big or sort of like in terms of units are you looking for in sort of 2025 or 2026, etc.?
I mean, our goal into 2025 is I think if you look at the Dowgate report, is they have us doing 50,000 units, which I doing rough numbers, is 100 million or so in sales. We feel real good about that. That sounds like a lot, but on a relative basis, as I can't even remember what with a $3.5 billion market. It's a very, very small market share. I get accused of being too conservative at times on a lot of stuff, but I like to hit my numbers. I like to be as accurate as possible, reliable on that. And so we feel good about those numbers. Obviously, once again, we want to push through those as much as possible. And there's a lot of big, distributors and durable medical equipment companies and providers that they buy units in 5, 10, 15,000, unit volume. So if we can, show that we have a very reliable product, and so far it's been great, we feel real confident that we can pick up a number of those orders going forward.
Great. So you've got a really exciting sort of organic growth story. Is there any M&A opportunities, or really sort of like just trying to just stick to the knitting and knocking out what you can control yourself?
Well, I got into this business by finding this technology. I'm always looking. There are some things out there that we are looking at. Obviously, our primary focus in the next, say, 9 months or so, 10 months, is to get these out, plus the app. But behind the scenes, yes, we're always looking at different opportunities. We get approached. There are some other interesting ideas and concepts coming from different industries. We've had cardiovascular companies, we've had dialysis companies, we've had organ transplant companies come to us. And so looking at ways to further integrate and license the technology. So we're looking at a lot of different things. I would say that the primary ones, if we're kind of from an organic, get these out the door, that look at expanding the manufacturing and the distribution outside the United States, and then bring in some of those. And I should also say that organic growth also is where we will be evaluating other options of distribution. And whether that's the acquisition of our own DME to push the product forward. So yes, lots of things sitting in front of us that we look at, and so we're very excited. So it's a big market that's moving, getting bigger.
Yeah, and then just finally, then sort of like just for investors, the sort of key milestones that people should sort of think about for the rest of the year. What more contract wins, more distributors, and ramping production, I guess, something like that. Like those.
Yeah, those are it. Yeah, I mean, those are the big ones. Getting this out the door, the CX. I'm sorry, this should describe it. The CX, and then the DX, and the DX we think is as one early on kind of patient looked at it, was saying this is going to be transformational. It is nearly half the weight of what's out there, producing the same amount of oxygen, and that makes a whole different business model for everybody, and that's got people very excited. So that's really a big plus. We're pushing for that to be out in Q3, and I think expanding the manufacturing and going outside the United States. As I said, it's a big market and opportunity. As you saw what happened in India, and you had various parts of the world, and going beyond COVID, COPD just continues to be a large killer and debilitating. 300+ million people suffer from it. So those are kind of the milestones that, of course, lots of things happen in this industry, in the medical device, as you're well aware. And who knows on some of them, but yes, we feel real good about hitting those for the shareholders. That's our target right now.
And then just on that, just finally on that, that seems to be a huge leap in technology to be able to reduce the weight of the device by about a half compared to the industry. How are you managing to do that? That seems like phenomenal improvement. It's technology that our partner Separation Design Group, if you kind of look at the background, they wanted a government technology innovation award on this early on. We then partnered with them and did some more things. It's really, and a lot of it has to do with just understanding what's important to the patient too, and the battery sizes that we use on it. Battery technology, of course, has gotten better. That's one of the reasons. But our ultra rapid and our modularity, which is our patented technology, it really allows us to process and run the machine much more efficiently and smaller. The consumer replaceable sieve technology. So we feel really good about it, and the units we have are performing very well right now. So yes, we feel real good, and quite frankly, part of it is we have the advantage of, and I was looking for one. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the bottom. I see if I had one, but this is one down here. But I won't show the name of it. But this is what's out on the market now, and it's 10-year-old technology too. A lot of times companies just don't. When a market is growing, I don't think there's as much incentive. And we want to be ahead of that. We don't want to just sit back and say, oh, we got a nice product. That's why we're already, working on the app for these and wanting to improve, because we want to be a leader, not just a leader in
in the actual physical delivery of oxygen, but also on the technology side, linking and connecting and just boom, boom, boom. That's our goal, is just to be ahead. We don't want to just kind of sit back and wait, for the market to kind of get, more crowded and then start developing, because then you're 2-3 years behind. We're trying to be 2-3 years ahead.
Well, I'm looking about 3 or 4 years time. Then you'll have reduced the size and the weight to sort of a book size. This, a very small sort of like paperback. Anyway, looking forward to hearing all about that and the rest of the news for the rest of the year. So big congrats again, Bob, and
thank you.
Keep up the great work. Obviously the world needs as good as this, this type of technology out in the home rather than out in hospitals, because it frees up a lot of hospital resource and improves the patients.
Super. Thank you. Appreciate it always. Thank you.
Take care, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye.